Merry Christmas. I've got some free gifts for you if you watch until the end. My name is Gianfranco Berardi, my pronouns are he, him, his, and I encourage curiosity and support creativity through my solo indie game development studio, GB Games LLC. This is the final Freshly Squeezed Progress Report companion video of 2023 to go with the Freshly Squeezed Progress Report blog post I published earlier. Check the link in the description below. In last week's report, I started making the intro more interactive in The Dungeon Under My House, my second Freshly Squeezed entertainment project. If you've been following along, you know that The Dungeon Under My House will be a non-violent, first-person dungeon crawler, and as a Freshly Squeezed entertainment project, it will be a polished, playable prototype that provides a complete entertainment experience. It will be freely available for desktop computers, as well as mobile devices, with no ads, no in-app purchases, and no personal data tracking. I'll start with saying that around midweek, I tested positive for COVID for the first time. I let my guard down, got careless, and now I'm sick. I'm fortunate in that I seem to be dealing with a relatively mild case, and that the rest of my family is negative so far. We're privileged enough for us to have space in our house to isolate. That's why I'm in a different location. And it could be worse. But it still stinks to be spending my vacation and the holidays with canceled plans to see family, and generally feeling exhausted, having a dry cough, a periodic stuffy or runny nose, and just a general feeling of blah. So while I anticipated not being very productive as we got closer to Christmas due to family and holiday preparations, instead I was unproductive due to being sick. So, mask up, get vaccinated, and keep you and your loved ones safe. Anyway, I would characterize my recent work as iteratively improving the intro sequence. That is, rather than merely building capabilities that could be used later in other parts of the game, I'm working on using what I have to build the actual game. And what's frustrating is that I still need to build some capabilities for some basic things. When you get through the initiation ceremony I showed in last week's report, the trigger that prevented you from leaving the room before the ceremony gets replaced with a new trigger that prevents you from leaving before the snack quest gets revealed. Changing triggers and script IDs is all possible today, but the snack quest eventually leads you to the basement, and you need to now search for pickles on the shelf, but what isn't communicated well is how the secret door appears in the basement. In my head, searching for pickles knocks over the broom, which hits a specific brick on the wall, which reveals the door. But the broom is currently just part of the background art of the basement room at the moment, so to do all I want to do, I need to design and implement the broom object, including animating it falling over, as well as what brick should highlight and the door that animates opening. So nothing technically challenging, it just isn't something that is done. Similarly, when entering the dungeon, the player should immediately run into two problems that need to be solved right away, and should guide the player back to the Explorers Club meeting to excitedly tell everyone about the strange discovery in the basement. One is that the dungeon is too dark, which requires going back to get a flashlight. This piece requires me to actually make a flashlight object, create a way for the player to find it among their belongings in the bedroom, and it also involves an inventory system, and so on. The other is that there is a door with a heavy beam that can't be moved without having a full party. While the player could form a party already, I need to do the work of creating a door locked with a beam, a way to determine if the player has enough party members to open the door, and how to let the player interact with the beam in the first place. Again, nothing too technically complicated, it's just code and data that doesn't exist yet and needs to in order to proceed. I've been working on this project for about a year, and I still feel like there's a lot that needs to be implemented before I can create even a simple form of gameplay. When I'm feeling better, I plan to do an assessment of what features and capabilities I still need, as well as solidify more of the actual game design. Thanks for watching. Stay curious. Now if you want to learn when I release The Dungeon Under My House, or about future Freshly Squeezed entertainment games I'm creating, then sign up for the GB Games Curiosities newsletter, and download full-color player's guides to my existing and future games for free. Again, check the links in the description.